You know, sometimes history's biggest stories start small. This one, it began as a scar, a wound, really, left in the rings of ancient trees, and it tells the story of a decade that was colder than any other. A deep, unnatural chill that just settled over an entire kingdom. And in doing so, it set in motion a chain of events that would literally redraw the map of the world.
Welcome to Insight History HD. Together, we will peel back the layers of narratives long locked away in the archives of history.
It's funny, isn't it? Sometimes the biggest shifts in history, well, they have the most distant, most unexpected origins. And this story is a perfect example of the butterfly effect. We're talking about how a series of massive volcanic eruptions, happening on the complete other side of the world, managed to plunge Scotland into a decade of darkness and ultimately force the creation of an entirely new nation.
So, where did the first clue to this incredible connection come from? Well, you might be surprised. It wasn't found in some dusty history book. Nope, it was in the scientific record. According to a real landmark study in the Journal of Volcanology and Geothermal Research, scientists looking at tree ring data from the Scottish cairngorms, they found the definitive evidence, the smoking gun if you will, linking that mysterious cold spell to a cluster of powerful volcanic events.
And the findings? They were absolutely staggering. I mean, the 1690s weren't just a little chilly. We're talking about the coldest decade Scotland had endured in 750 years, 3/4 of a millennium. Think about that. This profound climate shock, it was the very first unforeseen domino to fall in a sequence that would eventually erase one kingdom from the map and forge another.
Now, volcanic winter, it sounds like a scientific term, right? Something abstract. But for the people of 17th century Scotland, this was no abstraction. It was a living nightmare. This unrelenting cold triggered kingdom-wide crop failures, which plunged an already fragile nation into years and years of devastating famine. It was a period that became known, quite simply, as the ill years.
And you can feel the desperation in the letters from that time. It's just palpable. Take Daniel Hamilton, an estate manager. In 1696, he wrote that there was, and I'm quoting here, a general famine through the whole country for want of victual. He even noted that the cold brought grave frosts almost every night in the middle of July. Can you even imagine? The human cost was just catastrophic. We're not talking about a small number here. In just a few short years, it's estimated that as much as 15%, 1/5, of the entire Scottish population perished from starvation and disease. An entire generation was practically decimated by a climate event that they couldn't possibly understand, let alone escape.
So, out of the depths of this national crisis, what happens? A plan is born. And it's a plan of truly breathtaking ambition. With its economy completely shattered and its people starving, Scotland decided to stake its entire future on one single audacious colonial venture. It was a last desperate roll of the dice for national salvation.
The venture was officially called the Company of Scotland Trading to Africa and the Indies. And the goal? Well, it was to establish a Scottish trading colony right on the Isthmus of Panama. The idea was to create this brand new economic lifeline that would make the nation rich, powerful, and most importantly, independent of its overbearing southern neighbor, England.
And the architect of this whole scheme, a man named William Paterson, he sold it as a truly world-changing vision. He didn't see Panama as a swampy jungle. Oh no. To him, it was the commercial crossroads of the entire globe. He promised investors, quote, "These doors are the seas and the keys of the universe." Pretty compelling stuff, right?
And the nation, just so desperate for any glimmer of hope, bought into this dream completely. I mean, hook, line, and sinker. As the biography of William Paterson on Undiscovered Scotland points out, an absolutely incredible sum of money was poured into this venture. We're talking estimates of between a quarter and a full half of all the available wealth in Scotland at the time. It was, without a doubt, an all-or-nothing bet.
And the result? It was nothing. The Darien Scheme wasn't just a failure. It was a catastrophe of almost unimaginable speed and scale. The nation's greatest hope became its most profound disaster, turning a beautiful dream of empire into, well, a watery grave.
And the collapse was just shockingly swift. Let me walk you through it. The first colonists arrive in November of 1698. Within 6 months, just 6 months, they're ravaged by disease and starvation, and the survivors are forced to abandon the settlement. Then a relief expedition shows up, only to find ruins. By April of 1700, the last few remnants surrender to the Spanish. In less than 2 years, the entire dream was dead. just gone.
The reality on the ground was a litany of horrors. But the colonists faced more than just a brutal climate and disease. As the thesis, the ill-fated Darien Scheme argues, a really crucial factor was sabotage from England. You see, King William III was afraid of starting a conflict with Spain, so he actually prohibited England's own American colonies from trading with or offering any aid to the Scots. That move effectively sealed their fate.
So here's where Scotland was: bankrupt, broken, humiliated. They had exhausted their last real chance at independence. The failure of the Darien Scheme left the nation with no money, no credit, and really only one viable path forward: a full political union with its powerful and very wealthy neighbor.
So when you lay it all out, you see this undeniable chain of consequence. First, the volcanic winter creates the desperation that fuels the Darien Scheme. Then, its catastrophic failure, which remember was partly engineered by England, creates the bankruptcy that makes a political union pretty much unavoidable. And that's when England comes in. They offer a financial bailout, called the Equivalent, to cover Scotland's massive losses. But the price for that money was the kingdom itself.
And so, in 1707, the Scottish Parliament did something incredible. It voted itself out of existence. The Acts of Union were passed, and the Kingdom of Great Britain was born. Just think about that. A nation forged not in the heat of some glorious battle, but in the bitter, bitter cold of a volcanic winter that happened half a world away.
It's just a stark reminder, isn't it, of how profoundly our world is shaped by forces we can barely even perceive. Distant events, like the whisper of a butterfly's wings, with consequences that ripple across centuries to define the very ground beneath our feet. It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
If this journey has offered you a new perspective, support our exploration by subscribing to Insight History HD. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next narrative.